Mr. President, esteemed members of the Board of Trustees, my name is Jerinomo Valdez, and I am the treasurer for the organization that is known as Support Our Public Schools. Before I begin, I want to, on behalf of my organization and on behalf of the thousands of folks that signed our petition, thank you all for inviting us to speak tonight. Now, as you all know, a little over 2 months ago, our group launched a petition drive. And our goal at that time was to create a conversation within the city of Dallas and explore options for improving DISD with a process known as the home rule. Now, in those 2.5 months, we spent countless hours talking to folks in the community. We had numerous community events, town hall meetings, and we spent countless hours talking to students, parents, teachers, community leaders, and trustees. Over those few months, we realized a couple of things. Perhaps the rollout wasn't as good as it could have been. And number two, there were a number of questions that folks had. After conversations with many of you and folks in the community, I figured it'd be best to focus on 3 of the top questions that we've gotten over the last few months. So my goal tonight is to answer 3 questions and hopefully inform the board as much as I can, and in fact, the community members and the stakeholders in DISD. So the 3 questions that we've gotten most often is, number 1, who is Support Our Public Schools and what is their motivation behind this home rule push? Second question that has arisen quite often is, if you care so much about DISD, why home rule? Why not anything else? And the third question that we received most recently after folks realized we probably would be turning in the sufficient amount of petitions was, what do you as a group hope to see in the future? With that said, I'll be as brief as I can to explain to you who we are, why we want home rule, and what we hope to see in the future. So I'll start with saying, who is Support Our Public Schools? Now, personally, I don't think that it is an individual issue. This has nothing to do with me or with the other members of my board, but because we've been asked, I feel compelled to share with you all who we are and what our motivation was behind this. Support Our Public Schools is a group of 5 individuals that set out on this effort to try to do the best that we could to help improve DISD. Wilton Hollins is our president. He's a DISD graduate. He was also the chairman of the Human Resources Commission and spent countless hours working on helping improve DISD. Second member is Stephen Jones. He's our secretary. He's also a DISD graduate and in fact was the valedictorian of Lincoln High School. Third, we've got my good friend Louisa Meyer, who has devoted countless hours as a volunteer in DISD. She's currently chairing the Citizens Review Commission of DISD. And I'm happy to say that she put all of her kids through DISD schools. This year, her first son is teaching at Woodrow Wilson High School, and I'm happy to say that next year, she'll have a second son teaching at Lincoln High School. Finally, we've got Gary Griffith, that many of you all know as a community leader here in the city of Dallas, former city council member, and chairs a commission or chairs a student group at Woodrow Wilson High School. And finally, you've got me. I will submit to you all that I am the quintessential DISD kid. I am a picture of the current population of the schools and where we're going in the future. I'm one of 7 kids raised by a single immigrant mother. Folks have asked me, why do you love DISD as much as you do? And my answer is twofold. First, most folks don't realize how valuable DISD is to our kids. There were times when I had 2 square meals a day. One was breakfast because we were on free lunch, and one was lunch because we were on free lunch. More importantly, I had teachers that had a vested interest in seeing this young kid from the hood be successful. That's who we are. Everybody to a person on our group cares deeply about DISD and wants to do the best to improve it. While there may be talk of some nefarious scheme that we're billionaires with a hostile takeover, it couldn't be further from the truth. We're all DISD grads that want to see it improve. Second question. Why home rule? If you all have been involved in DISD for so long and y'all care, why home rule? My answer is this. I know that you all have done a tremendous amount of good improving the current state of the system. In fact, on the agenda tonight, if anybody looked, there's two things that we should scream from the mountaintops about. One is 2 of the top schools in the United States are right here in DISD. Second is, since 2007, the graduation has improved by nearly 20% to 81%. Those are things to be proud of. But my question is, while those things are great, are we doing everything possible to make sure that we're helping our kids? When I go back to Spruce, while things that are happening at Townview are great, we still have kids that need the help. You all know better than anybody else in the room that our graduation rate at DISD is 10%. Are you all satisfied with that? I'm not. Are we doing everything possible to help our kids? And if not, why not? So that brings me to why home rule. A lot of folks have said, Jerinomo, we can do everything now that you think you can do under the home rule. And my answer to that is, I disagree. You on the board know full well that there are things that you all want to do that haven't been able to do. Now, you've done some great things like support our superintendent with Destination 2020. You guys have voted to fund our school system in different ways than ever before. That's great. But you also have noted Trustee Mitch Kay, Mr. President Cowan, you all have noted that there are some things in the current system that we can't do. The answer to that, I believe, is home rule. For 20 years, you're going to hear from the opposition, for 20 years now, the state of Texas has allowed us the opportunity to truly become independent. 20 years ago, the legislature recognized that not every school district has the same needs. Big Springs ISD is not the same as San Antonio ISD or Dallas ISD or our good friends and neighbors, Highland Park ISD. You all know 90% of our kids are low income. They were like me. 40% are English language learners. Why should we be subject to the same rules that Highland Park is or Big Springs is when you all now have the capacity and the ability to create a new constitution? I believe we should do it. Now, there are a couple of concerns that have been raised on the other side. And while I disagree, and I think those concerns are unfounded, they are real concerns nonetheless. The first concern is by the teachers' unions. They say, wait a minute, under this home rule, there is the true possibility that we're going to lose our due process rights. The second concern that has been raised by some folks that I truly respect is that we may be on the cusp of losing our civil rights. My answer to that is twofold. This commission, you know, is going to be composed of 15 members. 80% of them have to be DISD teachers and DISD parents. I have full faith in those teachers that they are not going to disavow their own rights. Second, with regard to this 15-member commission, your council told you last week you all should follow the letter of the law with regard to the composition of this 15-member commission. What we are asking of you now is support our public schools has no role in this anymore.
Thank God.
What would we like to see in the future? You all now have a tremendous opportunity, but you also have a huge responsibility. We've turned in the petitions. It's your job now to appoint a 15-member commission. And our request, humbly, would be that you appoint a commission that is going to be reflective of the law and uphold your oaths that you took as trustees when you took office. They should represent the racial, ethnic, and geographic diversity of the city. And I'm confident, Madam Ranger, that that will make sure that we don't lose our rights to elected trustees. Second, I hope that you all will appoint a group of trustees that are thoughtful and are truly dedicated to putting something on the ballot soon to help our kids. In closing, I know that I've got my 10 minutes are up. I would suggest, first of all, thank you for everything you do. Your job is thankless too many times. I am confident that if we do this right, the City of Dallas and DISD can be the model that all other DISDs in Texas look at and want to emulate. Thank you for your time, and I am confident that you guys will do the best for our kids.